How's it going? I don't know if I did this video before, but this video is on whether you should flush your CVT transmission fluid. I know if you guys seen any of my videos, you guys know how I always say if you guys have issues with your CVT transmission, you should definitely, you know, change the fluid. As far as flushing the CVT transmission is concerned, there's different kind of flushes. I know there are videos out there where guys are actually connecting the radiator, one of the radiator plugs, the out plug, something like that. Put that, you know, connecting that and emptying it out in a bucket and turn the car on and pretty much just have one person pour the CVT transmission fluid in and have it run through the system and run it out and into the bucket. And yes, that is kind of a flush. It's not like a traditional flush. You're pretty much just running the old transmission fluid out and then running newer transmission fluid, CVT transmission fluid into the system and flushing it out that way. So you're actually doing a cleaner version of a CVT fluid change. And you know, and if you want to do that, it's a little bit more complicated than my video on changing the CVT transmission fluid. I haven't done it myself, but you know, I don't think that's like a negative thing to do as far as that's concerned. But as far as like doing a normal flush in a car where you take it to the mechanic and the guy, you know, puts a kind of a hose. You know what? I've actually never had seen a flush done before, but I'm sure they put like a pressured hose and then they flush it with some kind of, you know, solution or whatever. And with that, I personally wouldn't recommend it. If you guys don't have any issues with your CVT transmission outside of the CVT wine, and you know, your car going to safe mode, I'd say, you know, either change the fluid or do that, you know, what I described earlier as far as that you know, it's like an oil, it's a CVT fluid flush where you're using CVT fluid to just run the CVT fluid into the transmission and just replacing it, and instead of doing like a pressurized hosing of the system. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend hosing the system as far as flushing it that way. You're gonna just end up damaging your transmission, particularly if you have no issues with it. And the only time you might even consider doing that is if you look at your transmission and you're seeing like particles. It's like the transmission fluid is black and you're seeing particles in there, like parts of it broken off and stuff like that, like debris in the transmission fluid. But at that point, chances of your transmission just breaking down is pretty high at that point. So I guess you have no other choice but to do something like that. But normally speaking, probably not a good idea to flush your transmission. There's your CVT transmission.